Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel Learning English with Bijoy, or welcome to the channel those who are joining here for the first time. So friends, earlier we have discussed about past simple tense or past continuous tense, and today we will be discussing about past perfect tense, and you will learn here how to use past perfect tense in a sentence. So let's get started. The formula for making past perfect tense is, first we have to take subject and then we have to use helping verb, had and V3, past participle of the verb. We all know that V3 we use present, this is V1, past V2 and past participle V3. So here we need the V3, this portion. Let's suppose go, went and gone, work. If the verb is work, then its past form is worked and past participle is also worked. So how can we make the past participle past perfect tense? The past, when there is two or more events happened in the past, so the incident, the event which occurred at first in the past, there we use past perfect tense. So let's draw a timeline here. This is the timeline. This is 10 o'clock and here is 9 and here is 9:30. We had a meeting at 9 a.m. and we arrived there at 9:30 a.m. So how can, in this case we will use this is now, and from the left side this is also a past event and this is also a past event. There are two different past events. Let's write it. The meeting started at 9 and sentence number 2, we arrived at meeting at 9:30. So there are, we can see that two past events mentioned here. So what is the first past event? We know that at 9 o'clock the meeting had started, and then after at 9:30 we arrived there. So so what happened? When there are two or more past events, the past event which happened at first in the past, there we used past perfect tense. So we are making a new sentence. These are past simple tense. These sentences are in past simple tense or simple past. Now we are making the sentence past perfect tense. So when we arrived, the meeting had started. Here the V2 form is here. Here is it is an past event. We arrived, simple past, and the meeting had already started when we arrived there. So this is the first sentence, first event occurred in the past time. So here we use had and V3, start, started and started again. So this is the sentence, this is the example of making past perfect tense. Let's do it in structure. The structure we use for learning past perfect tense is, let's take the subjects I, we, you, they, he, she, it. And what we use for the positive sentence? We need to use had and then the verb V3 form. If we take the verb go, then we need to take gone here. So this is positive. I had gone, we had gone, you had gone, they had gone, he had gone, she had gone, and it had gone. Now let's make it in a negative sentence. How we can make negative? Just we need to add there I had not gone, this plus not. Okay, write it clearly here. I had not gone. This is I had not gone, we had not gone, you had not gone, they had not gone, he had not gone, she had not gone, and it had not gone. So it's the example of negative. This is positive sentence, negative and interrogative. Interrogative, as we all know that when we want to make a question sentence, question making sentence or interrogative sentence, we need to have the helping verb at the beginning of the sentence. Let's take it here, had, and after the subjects, so I, we, you, they, he, she, and it. And the verb, take the verb gone and then put a asking mark. Had I gone, had we gone, had you gone, had they gone, had he gone, had she gone, and had it gone. So friends, now you got the point that in order to make a sentence in past perfect tense, we need to use had after the subject, and then after that we have to use V3 form. For go, we need to use gone, and for work, we need to use worked. So similarly, we can take another example here. I had worked. Take another example. I had worked. We had worked. You had worked. They had worked. He had worked. She had worked, and it had worked. And if we make a negative sentence with worked, so I had not worked, we hadn't worked, you had not worked, they had not worked, he had not worked, she had not worked, and it had not worked. We can write it in the contraction form, the had not, we can say hadn't. Hadn't. The contraction form of hadn't, had not is hadn't. I hadn't worked, we hadn't worked. So in our daily conversation, we use this contraction form. Now let's move to the interrogative sentence. So here we have the verb work, and its third form is worked. So how can we make the question with the help of past perfect tense? Had I worked? Had we worked? Had you worked? Had they worked? Had he worked? Had she worked? Had it worked? And if we want to make the question with the WH word, then see how we can make a question with WH word. Where had I worked? Where had we worked? Where had you worked? Where had they worked? Where had he worked? Where had she worked? Where had it worked? Similarly, you can change the WH question here. You can also add the which or when, how. So you can take so many WH question. So now let's move on to the example where two or more past events occurred during the past time. So earlier we have learned there were two past simple tenses, and we learned that how we can make two sentences into a past perfect sentence. So now let's take another example to learn it more clear. Before I moved to Australia, I had graduated. I had learned English. So this is a sentence. Before I moved to Australia, so here the past form, before I moved or shifted, you may also use there in place of moved. Before I shifted or moved to Australia, I had graduated from university. I had learned English. So those things I had done, I had learned and I had done before I moved to Australia. So first I learned English, I graduated from university, and then after that I moved to Australia. So guys, here we can see that three past tenses, three past event is there. Number one, I moved to Australia or I shifted to Australia. Then I graduated from and before that I graduated from university and I learned English. So these two things happened before I moved to Australia. So in that case we need to add had graduated and had learned. Had, we use had, and after that we use the verb 3 V3 form here, and it's the same here. So it is very clear that in a sentence we can recognize that which event happened or occurred at first in the past, because we can see there the had already there and the V3 form also there. But for the simple past, when we want to make simple past tense, we just need to have past form of the verb, means V2 form of the verb. Let's take another example for more example. Very often we use this sentence in our learning or in our conversation, that we use how to learn past perfect tense. Let's take another example. The patient had died. Before the doctor came. Before the doctor came. So we can see that the patient had died. We use here had and then died. Died, died, died. So V1, V2, V3, died, died, died. Here we can see that had is there and also V3 form is there. And before the doctor came, it means this patient had died earlier and after that the doctor came there. So we can easily recognize that this event occurred first and then after doctor came. So it's only plain V2 is there. It is past simple tense. It is ordinary past simple, and this portion of the sentence we use past perfect tense. Perfect tense. I think it's clear to each and everybody. So this is the easier method to learn past perfect tense, because earlier we learned the structure. First we need to have a subject. It may be I, we, you, they, he, she, it, and then we need to have had there, and after that we need to use V3. I had gone, we had gone, they had gone. So it's for the positive sentence. And if we want to make it negative, then we have to use I had not worked, we had not worked, he had not worked, she had not worked, they had not worked, and so on. And if we want to make it in interrogative sentence, then we need to add had I gone, had we gone, had you gone, had she gone, had he gone, and so on. So this is the basic structure of using past perfect tense. And earlier we have seen in so many examples that when there is a past perfect tense, we use there had is there and V3 is there, and it also describes that if two or more past events happen in the past time, then the event which happened at first in the first, we add their had plus V3 form of the verb, and if there is another person or another event in the same sentence, we don't use had plus V3 there, we only simple add their V2 form of the verb. Let's I went, I came, I go, doctor came, doctor went. So this is the basic idea and first and foremost idea for making sentences with past perfect tense. So guys, today I think you all learned from this lesson, and if you like this lesson, please do subscribe and comment in the comment section and like and share with the friends. So thank you friends, we will meet you for one more lesson.